Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I'd say it's a beautiful Saturday, but it's not so beautiful in Dayton today. Had some crazy weather blow through last night. It's we got a warm front coming through. It's actually in the 60s here, which is really crazy because other people are getting snow and we're getting this warm weather, which is really unusual for this time of year. And it sparked up some tornadic weather in our area last night. So it was a crazy night, but I was blessed that I got to sleep through it, which was really awesome. Really, really awesome. I wanted to jump on here and kick everybody's morning off with some attitude of gratitude. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I wanted to talk today, and I'm really grateful that I'm not in this mindset anymore. Misery is optional, guys. It is truly optional. In the 12-step program I work, they say, we'll gladly refund your misery. And, it's a choice. It's a choice whether I sit in my feelings or in my head, in my stinking thinking, or I can change it. It's really that simple. Misery is optional, and I just choose simply not to sit in my all day. It's just not worth it. And I used to all the time. I had to really, really change my mindset, guys, from a negative one to a positive one, and just simply try to look at the gratitude in the day and look at how far I've came and how far I could go, pat myself on the back and be an inspiration to myself, but not only to myself, but to other people. That's what this is all about, to show other people and to tell other people and spread the word that there is a way out of this and that we do recover and that we can do this. My personal outlook on life was I was hopeless. I was becoming suicidal. I just simply didn't want to be here anymore. And I was miserable. I really, really, really was miserable. I had to surrender. It sounds easier said than done, but it really is that simple. I just simply one day self-admitted myself into treatment and I surrendered because I was tired of the chaos. I was tired of the ripping and running. I was tired of the misery. I truly was just simply tired of the misery. I wanted what other people had and the happiness and the joy and the smiles on their face that I could see when I would walk in and out of the rooms of the 12-step programs that I'm personally involved in. And I was reluctant. I was afraid. There was a lot of ego and pride and fear involved. I was super uncomfortable in these meetings. I didn't feel like I was a part. I didn't feel like these people understood me, that, my problems, there's just no way anybody can understand what's going on in my head. I had to get out of that thinking. I really, really, really did. It had become comfortable in my life that I was so used to the chaos and the ripping and running and numbing the pain that I was dealing with my drug of choice. It was comfortable for me. It was the easy way out. And I just simply got tired of it. I got tired of all the worry and the guilt and the fear of the unknown, worrying about those woulda, coulda, shouldas all the time. And where am I going to get the next one? And where am I going to sleep at today? And where am I going to get a cold ass hot dog or a free bottle of water on the street, to get me through the day? I just got tired of that. I just got tired of all that misery. I really did. And there was really only one option left for me, and that was to surrender and turn it over to something greater than myself. Realize that I cannot do this alone, that this is not an I program, that when I run on my self will, I'm screwed. I am in so much trouble. 10 times out of 10. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And by the grace of my higher power, I didn't die. I came back. He seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I am truly blessed that I am still here today. I just got tired of worrying about those woulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, shouldas, and I just simply let it go. I just simply let that go. The key for me wasn't necessarily just letting go and letting my higher power do the work, but it was putting in that work. He could drive, he could guide me in the right direction, but I was lazy, guys. I was super lazy and I did not want to do the work. I just figured if I go to these meetings and I show up, but I don't get a sponsor and I don't work a program, it's going to be okay. I'm just going to remain dry, but I'm going to show up every week. Didn't work out for me. May work out for you. And I pray if that's what you're doing right now, it does. But for me, no, it did not work. Took me a long time to realize that I had to put in the work, and this shit isn't easy. Simply being dry for me, it just did not work. I have to stay vigilant in my recovery and chase this like I used to chase my dope day in and day out, whether I want to or not, in order to recover and to keep, what I have today. It's just an amazing thing. I have to reach out and share to other people like yourselves, because I need you guys as much as hopefully you need to hear something that I may have to say during the day. And it took me a long time to realize that I can't do it alone, and that it's a we program, that together we're stronger, and that I need each and every one of you guys out there. Trade that misery in for some inner peace. It's the best thing that I have done in my life. I'm happy today. Things are getting a lot better. They're becoming more manageable. We all remember that unmanageability and that chaos. I just got tired of it. I got tired of the fear of the unknown and what's going to happen the next day or the next minute. I just had to let that go. Ask yourself, guys, if you're struggling out there and you're in active addiction and you need help and you really want to change your life, are you ready to change it? Ask yourself that. Are you ready to change it? Are you ready for a new way of life? Do you really, really want this? Do you want to trade that misery in and all that pain that active addiction brings on and reap the benefits of recovery, the blessings of recovery that happen in a lot of our lives day in and day out by simply surrendering and just doing the right thing? It was the best thing personally that I've done in my entire life. And I'm eternally grateful that I'm aware of it today, and that I can see, and that my eyes are wide open. And I realize that I am just that far away from going back. That's why I have to stay so vigilant that I don't have this, nor will I ever have this, that I'm still a baby in recovery, and that I always will be. But if I continue sharing open and honest with everyone and reaching out and asking for help when I'm struggling, and it happens, believe me, guys, just because I'm in recovery and that I'm clean today doesn't mean that I don't struggle, and that my mental health doesn't kick in, and the depression and the anxiety and the fears, especially during the holidays right now. People are dropping off left and right daily as I speak. And death is a huge one for me. And it's something that I struggle with personally, especially when it's close friends that are in recovery and you think they're doing well. And then, you get a text or you see a post on social media and they're gone. A blink of an eye, they're gone. That's why it's so important to reach out, see how people are doing, check on them, tell them that you love them. Tomorrow is never promised. It is not promised. So that's why I always try to take full advantage of the day and the opportunities presented in front of me daily, day in and day out, because I don't know what's going to happen 20 minutes from now. It's so important. It's so important. Misery's a choice, guys. Trade it in. I highly recommend trading that misery in for recovery and changing your life, being the best possible person you can be day in and day out. For me, it's been a awesome journey, mentally, spiritually, and physically today. I'm healing. I'm getting better daily. I'm being a better person daily. And I hope that if you're out there struggling right now, if you're living on the streets, you're in active addiction, and you're going through the things that I've gone through and many of us have gone through, give yourself a break. I'm going to say it. Quit pumping quarters in that ass kicking machine and give yourself a break. You are loved. You are worth it. You can do it. Reach out and ask for yourself. Humble yourself. Become vulnerable and reach out. I'm available on my social media pages. You can get a hold of me. Reach out to me. If I can't help you in the area that you're in, I will connect you with someone that can. I promise you that. I will help you in any way I can. So please reach out. Use your support network if you have one. Sometimes that phone, it's an SOB to pick up, but it was the best choice that I made in my personal recovery. I love you guys. I am glad that everyone is here listening. And if you're not here listening and you listen to it later, I'm super happy that you are. Please share and like the pages. The more we share, the more we reach, and hopefully the more we help, guys. You know, the holidays for me personally, I can remember them days when I was on the streets in Cincinnati and Dayton and surrounding areas where I didn't have two nickels to rub together. I was homeless and underneath bridges, living in camps, in and out of treatment centers because it was getting cold out. So where do I go when it gets cold? You know, we've been there. I don't have to tell you guys how to survive on the streets. For those that have lived on the streets, we know. You know, I just pray that you trade that misery in for a new way of life because it's so much better. You know, embrace the suck, embrace those feelings because feelings suck. But I know the more you share, the more you heal and the better you're going to feel. But I promise you that. It felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders when I just got butt naked honest with somebody and told them exactly how I was feeling and where I was at. Next Thursday, guys, going to be a big day, another big day. I've got two awesome guys coming on 8 o'clock Eastern this coming Thursday. 50 total years of recovery between these guys. They're from the Nashville, Tennessee area. One of them is my sponsor. Please be here. Please be here. It's going to be an awesome night. These guys are killer and a huge part of my recovery. I hope you guys can be here and tune in. I've got the links flying right now on my pages and some other pages. So if you happen to see it and you're interested, click that button, get the reminder, 8 o'clock Eastern. 8 o'clock Eastern. Boy, brain fart. It's amazing what addiction does to your mind. Hey, I'm still healing. I'm getting better. I'm not perfect, guys. But I love you guys. Thanks for taking time out this Saturday morning to kickstart your day off with that attitude of gratitude. Change your mindset, guys. Tell everyone you love them today. Reach out to ones that you know are struggling. Because like I said, tomorrow's not promised. And you just never know who's struggling and what's going on with them today. It's so important during the holidays. Because like I said, I struggle with mental health and addiction problems. And holidays get me in my head at times. I'm not going to lie. And even I need help, you know. So reach out to me because you never know. It puts a smile on my face when I hear from everyone. I love you guys. Thanks for everyone for being here. And I will see you guys hopefully tonight if my day doesn't get too busy. But the way the weather is right now, I can hear the wind howling and the rain beating off my window here. I think I'm taking a self-care day. Another thing that's super important. Take care of yourself, guys. Keep yourself number one and your recovery number one. Can't save your face and your ass at the same time, so look out for yourself. I love you guys. We'll talk to you later. See ya.